we have to work at finding our happiness, and it's so important. And you can do that while still being a practicing vet. Life is precious, time is short. Enjoy what you do.
Welcome to Vet Life Reimagined. To celebrate my first pregnancy, we are continuing with our focus around family, children, and parenthood. Gender reveal is coming soon, so make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and following me on LinkedIn. But how can we joyfully have both the career we desire and be fully present with our family? Well, our guest today has found how it works for her. Dr. Alexandra McClaughry is a practice owner of a general practice with a clinic that is open only 4 days a week, and it is the most profitable she's ever been. Because client communication is such a high priority, she also worked with her husband, Stephen, who is a software engineer, on creating the ideal practice management tool that allows her to run her business efficiently and still prioritize building great client relationships with good communication. That tool is called VetBadger, and it is a software built for efficiency so you can go home and be present with your family. They are even giving anyone who gets a demo between Mother's Day and Father's Day a free copy of the book written by Dr. Emily Singler, one of our guests in the last episode. The book is called Pregnancy and Postpartum Considerations for the Veterinary Team. So listen to the episode. I hope you're inspired. And if you want a demo of VetBadger, use the link in the description and let them know you heard about it on Vet Life Reimagined. So let's get to the conversation. When did you know you wanted to work with animals?
High school, actually. I think it was my senior year, either junior or senior year of high school. And the high school offered shadowing experiences with other professionals in the medical field. So I got to shadow a gastroenterologist, a urologist, a veterinarian, and a pediatrician. And it still, the memory is with me because I got to compare all the different careers, and definitely the veterinary was different, but the best of all of them. And I realized I do not want to be a pediatrician.
Yes, there's uniquenesses to everything. I know. Imagine. Especially in high school.
I know. I'm like, those parents, they're crazy.
And now it's only too close to home, right?
I know, exactly. Like, oh, if I only knew now.
Well, I saw that you went to the University of Oregon to get your bachelor's degree. And it was in biology, but you also studied some marine biology and different oceanography. So where does that come into from high school? I'm interested in vet med to studying those things.
Well, U of O is fantastic. I was also a part of a pre-vet club at U of O. So that probably introduced me to the marine biology program. And you go off to Charleston, Oregon, which is kind of near Coos Bay, but it's really small, and you live there. And it was an amazing experience. A lot of the people who would do that program were like actual divers. They would dive in the ocean. They were so hardcore, but it was those kind of people, and made me want to be in veterinary medicine even more. So, but yeah, it was just fascinating. I'm like, there's so much out there. Like the field is so wide and diverse, and what you can do with animals. It was pretty cool. It's just another kind of program at U of O. So go Ducks.
Excellent. No, my first love too is actually marine mammals. And likewise, I think it helped me realize the diverse aspect of careers with animals. So you did go to veterinary school, but you traveled very far to go to veterinary school. So you went to Dublin. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, I mean, my final year of university, I was behind on things. I didn't have all my exams and all that stuff put together. I was trying to kind of scramble, and through the club, I found out about the program through Ireland. So I was like, okay, I'll just apply. And then next year I'll have all the other stuff and I'll apply for the state schools. So you just kind of like start organizing. So I applied, and next thing I knew, a few months later, I got in, and I was like, okay, I'm going. So I just went. I didn't even think about it. I've never been to Ireland. I've never been to Europe. I'm Canadian. That's about it. So I just went for it. I wanted it so bad. I thought it was like, why would I not jump at the opportunity? So I just did it. And it was phenomenal because at the time I was dating my husband, and he was in a doctorate program studying for computer science. And it was the time of the Celtic Tiger. So that's when Ireland had a lot of software engineer jobs. So my husband got to work there. So we lived together in Ireland when I went to school. It was like perfect. It was amazing. The program is 5 years there instead of 4 because the students are out of their high school, but their high school is much more rigorous and they're on like a path starting when they're young. So the first year is more like anatomy, and it was a time for me to acclimate. But it was a phenomenal program. And yeah, now they're actually AVMA accredited. So if you go to Ireland, you will be a vet. You can go right back here and just start practicing. So it's a great program.
I had a good friend who went there as well, and he really enjoyed his time there. And so, did studying abroad also kind of open your mind to other things? I think anytime we can go experience a culture, that I think it does a lot for us personally.
Oh, most definitely. There's still the old school farms that you'd work with. And I learned from them and they learned from me. And, once you're in Ireland, you can travel anywhere. It's cheap, it's close. And, I go to London for a weekend, travel with friends, go to France, go to Italy on the cheap, which is the best way to go. Eat what the locals eat. You really get to see the nitty gritty. It was a phenomenal experience. I couldn't recommend it even more. And, so you are required to work with large animal practitioners, beef, cattle, farmers I had to work with, and vets, and dairy. So I did my dairy vet experience in Pennsylvania, and I did my beef in Canada. So I got a wide, diverse range. And then I did lambing in the Isle of Man, just a little island off of the UK. Diverse experience. It was great. So even though I was on an island, I wasn't just limited to that kind of practice. And there's a lot of Europeans who go over there. I had friends with Austrians who were studying maybe anesthesia specialty at the school. I feel like I have a lot of advantage that other people don't have. You're not so scared to take chances because, I'm taking a plane to somewhere I've never been before and working with people I don't know and staying at their house, like lambing. You go stay with someone you don't know and you're up in the middle of the night and delivering lambs, and then you're up the next morning. And yeah, just all these cool things that you get to do.
So it looks like you came back closer to home back to Washington State and started working as an associate vet. And I think you got to bring all of those experiences with you because it sounds like you did a little bit of everything. It was a mixed animal practice. Is that right?
Yeah, it was great. So I still had to do my clinical proficiency exam. And that is a 3-day vigorous test where you're expected to do obviously surgery, a spay, you're expected to do cattle, sheep, all the stuff. So I needed to make sure I kept up those skills for that test. I planned on doing small animal and I was still kind of thinking about what I wanted to do. So mixed animal practice is lots of diversity, but definitely I had to think about, I wanted to pass the clinical proficiency exams. So that year in Washougal was pretty much dropped in the middle of chaos because, this is before they had requirement that you have someone guide you and not let you be at 3 a.m. with a colicky horse by yourself.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't recommend that for any new graduate. I don't think it was okay. It ended up being fine. But now that I have guided, mentored other graduates, I tell them, I will never allow that to happen to you. You will not have to have a block cat by yourself on a Saturday. So it helped me be a better vet and more empathetic for people. Yeah. But I got through those exams. So yeah.
Excellent. And so you did end up deciding to focus more on small animal?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I kind of knew before that's what I wanted to do. But mixed animal practice and large animal, hats off. It's so hard. being on call is one of the most difficult times, and it's definitely seasonal work. Spring would give me like hives because all the reproduction that happens, cesareans, and for dairy cows, left displaced abomasums and surgery. And there's just so much. Mixed animal, I think it's more chaotic. Some person who has some property decides to get a cow and they're like, "Oh, my cow's limping." I'm like, "Okay." There's no chute for them to put them in. They don't even rope them up. They're just like right there in the middle of the field, and they're not kidding. Like, and then you find out it's not a cow. You find out it's a bull.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. Now, did you earlier on think you might go into practice ownership, or was that something that also developed as you were learning to be a veterinarian?
Yeah, well, my first year actually at that mixed animal, the practice owner broached the subject with me, and my husband and I, we were actually really excited. We were just like, "Wow, that would be fantastic." But then they reengaged, like they took it back, and that was very disappointing. But yeah, when the opportunity arose, I quickly jumped at it. And that kind of surprised me, even though all the challenges I had, I was like, wow, I'd have control. I could, make this place better. And then it took back, and then I got back into my leg shell. And then I went and worked somewhere else and worked for corporate, which was good because I learned a lot about business side of veterinary medicine and how they run things. There is a reason why they do things. So it was good that I didn't own that I didn't at that time, but I was ready. I was very interested in it. And then, I had kids and you're like, no way, I'm so busy. But eventually when the opportunity arose, again, I was ready. Yeah. And this time prepared with knowledge of working at corporate for 8 years and knowing definitely what kind of medicine I wanted to practice. Still scary, but yeah, more of what I wanted. Yeah.
Leadership is scary. And management is scary.
It is scary. We all have to have a little fear now and then.
Well, speaking of that, what was probably one of your big things that you've learned from practice? So if you were mentoring someone who is thinking about going into practice ownership, what's maybe a big tip you would give?
It's great to practice your own medicine, to have control over what kind of drugs or flea control. That part is awesome. The negative always is like, I think human resources is hiring. That's a constant challenge to make people happy. That definitely challenges me the most. And I definitely need help with that. Like my husband is phenomenal. Making people happy, finding that balance for them as well as me. It's not about me. It is about the team. It's about finding out what a different generation needs to be happy and not be like, those young kids, they don't know. People said that about my generation, and that's gone on forever. And we have to stop doing that. And everyone has their own needs, and we got to respect them. And trying to help people who don't know what they want is really hard. So I struggle in that. And number one, know what you're not good at. And that I'm not good at, and I really work hard on it, is helping people meet their potential. So, yeah.
And you started talking about your husband too. And so your husband does come more into the picture, this software engineer that comes into the picture. So what is your journey with you and your husband seeing that there might be a need in not necessarily just your practice, it gets bigger than that, but what was the journey of you seeing some needs and implementing a solution to it?
Yeah, it started with practice ownership. So I bought the practice, and then I had to make the decision what kind of practice software management I wanted. And I knew the one that I had did not satisfy my needs because I'm a true believer in communication, giving people exam reports. They need to know what they paid for, what my concerns are, really good communication, and nothing out there offered it. So Steven's like, I'll do that for you. And so he was doing that, and I was remodeling the clinic at the same time. So new software, changing over, but it was so important to me. I'm like, I can't keep going onto Google Drive and writing separate reports or like spending an extra 20 minutes per patient. And I will do that because, like, if I was an owner and I went in and spent $500 and no one told me what I was spending it for or why or what's going on, because I don't remember the appointment, why would I come back? So that I put myself in their shoes and I took the extra time to do that. And Steven made it so much easier. So instead of 20 minutes, it takes me like maybe 5 minutes because, they get to see my notes in there and we kind of have a summarization of what's going on. And I'll give them maybe attach some PDF documents on maybe behavior or whatever. But that client communication and value, and people want to know what's going on with their pet. So,
yeah. Well, and you mentioned this too. If the pet owner doesn't understand what happened and what they paid for, that can really hurt the repeat business, meaning it hurts the relationship. They didn't feel the connection. So when you are able to communicate better, that can build a better relationship with clients. So they not only understand what's going on, but it builds that trust as well.
Yeah, that trust is so important. My favorite part of being a vet is establishing relationships with clients, like seeing that pet since they're a puppy and then putting them down. Like it's heartbreaking, but I've done that. And even owners passing away, which, makes me want to cry, but I can't get that from job hopping from clinic to clinic. That's why I've stayed at VCA for 8 years and now I'm a business owner and I've been here for 12 years. And I love that continuity of care. And I'm sad for vets who hop around because they don't get that. It's the most lovely, wonderful thing is having that lovely relationship with the client. Just saying, oh, how are you doing? How are your kids? Or how are your grandkids? Finding out the bad parts where they passed away, knowing that they had that pet with them all those years and they had that beautiful relationship is pretty awesome. So it gives me goosebumps to know that I can help people have that joy with their pet and kind of, if there's struggles, be there with them, hold their hand. That's a beautiful thing. And I feel so lucky that I get to do that. And I just want vets to remember that there is a beautiful part of it. And that all starts with communication, them to be able to text you and email you, because we never can get to the phone. It's not possible. Rarely. In fact, I have telemedicine visits for that actually. So I get paid for that 30 minutes that I get to spend to talk to the client, whether it's about just maybe their cat's peeing everywhere or whatever it is. It's hospice care. I get that. And that's really nice because people can be at home and have their pet on their lap, be next to them. And then I can give my time to them and then email them what we talked about. So that is really nice. And that flexibility is from my software. And because at the beginning, I own my own practice and this is what I want. This is what's really important.
Yeah. And all the things that you're talking about here that you're saying is so special is a human component, right? It's that connection between human to human. And when we can leverage technology to help us be more human, I think that's really the cool part about technology. And so, I mean, you mentioned telehealth and all sorts of things. So VetBadger is the name of the practice management software that you created. What are all of the different capabilities? Because to me, that's more than just our medical record system, right? It sounds like there's a lot of different things with it.
Yeah. I mean, the basis is communication, but it's also communication with the team. So we have a task management system. So when I get lab results in, it comes in on a side of the screen and it's a task for me. So when that cytology result comes back in from Antech, whatever lab, it shows up and I get it and I can contact the client. If I have a task for refills, it gets assigned to a technician or assistant. So they have their tasks they can do and it has different alerts. So it just helps the flow instead of the nagging and the notes and the unfortunate tone of your voice that they misinterpret as you being mad at them when you're not, you just want it done because this dog is dying and the client is upset. I don't want to go and tell you all those details. I just need the data. So it really helps me. I can just put in a task, please call in this drug to this compounder. It's so much easier to manage the team. And they like it, and they can assign tasks to other teammates, like maybe delegation can happen if you have a team leader and they're like, okay, well, I've got these tasks. I'm going to delegate this to this person. So it helps with delegation. And then, the exam report and invoicing out. It's great because I go through the price, money, right? I can do that in the room easily. And I can even charge them out easily because the credit card stays on file and I'll ask the client, are you okay with the credit card ending in 3211? And they'll be like, yes, or no, I want to add a different card, and we can easily scan a different card. And just that communication is just so much easier with the software because it's all in there. It makes everyone happy. Everyone's on the same side. We know what's going on because of the practice management software.
And you talked about how the team can all use it. And one of the challenges sometimes that comes with technology is the education, the learning of it, because sometimes it can cause a little bit of an anxiety while you're learning this new tool. So how have you helped lead your team through change? I mean, and you talked about not only did you change practice management software, you were redoing the hospital, renovating. So how did you lead through change? How were you able to see what worked so well that helped the team adopt it so well?
Making it easy to use is essential. If I have a relief tech come in, they can literally get on VetBadger and start using it with no training. I pretty much stick the computer in front of them and it's that simple. Reminding people where things are, because there are more and more things that you can do. We'll talk about it, but the main stuff, the simple stuff is just so easy. And we use Chromes. Everyone has their own Chromebook that they use. Some people, honestly, really slow to type, but they get the hang of it because everyone can type. No one can read my handwriting. I mean, my husband can't read my handwriting. So they get it and they all love it. So having relief text and vets come in and use it makes me so happy because they're like, wow, this is easy, right away. And I have used software that is not easy times 10. And that is not the case with this software. It is very, very easy. But if it was difficult, that'd be a whole other stressful because it can make people quit. I have been at places where they've done a whole software change and people, slews of people have quit because they can't handle it. With VetBadger, you can help desk it. It's a small company. So if there's problems, they're always working on the code. They're always trying to make it better and more simple. So it's like small business ownership. You can be nimble. You listen to your client. You can make the changes. Just like I can do that for my clients, VetBadger can do that for theirs. And they do all the time. So that's why they have behaviorists and they have a lot of mobile and they have practices like me because we are already thinking outside the box, right? We have to have things run the way that we want it to run. And he knows that and he understands it. So he makes it happen. So that's why it's easy.
Well, and both of you are living it because Stephen did, I think he came in and became the practice manager as well.
Again, being nimble. The pandemic made a lot of people quit. A lot of people changed careers. A lot of people took time out for illness or mourning. And myself, not being the only business, I encountered that. And I'm like, something's got to change. This isn't working. I can't work 6 days a week. It's just me. And we got through COVID. The software was phenomenal. But now I'm going to have to even make more changes. And that's where the 4-day work week happened. And I'm like, I can't be here just the 4 days and 2 days I'm gone and it becomes toxic. So I'm like, I need to make this place positive every day that I'm here. and that means I need to be here. I can only be here 4 days because I will lose my mind. And that's where knowing yourself, what you need, is important, because when I'm grumpy, I'm not a good vet. I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good boss. I'm not good for anything. So why? I love what I do. 4 days a week, I can do that. I can be all the good things. And that's when I got Steven involved, because I've had practice managers, but it's a very difficult job. If you're not self-aware of what your needs are, it will tear you apart. And I saw that twice. And I'm like, I can't have that again. I can't tell people, please take some time off. Please. I can't make people do that. I've realized that. So I had Steven come in and help me, because as you can see, he rides his bike, he races. This is what keeps him sane. He knows how to have a work-life balance. My other practice managers didn't. And I needed one. And I'm like, well, let's make this work. I know you can't do it full time. I'll take on more practice management roles that don't involve human resources because I know that's not my strong suit. And you do all the human resources, come in a couple of days a week just for maybe the morning or the afternoon. And it's been working. We're happy. The staff love it. They don't have to go to me. They can go to him with issues. And that's just being nimble and being self-aware. A lot of vets are not self-aware. They're like, I'm miserable. It's horrible. I'm like, well, you can actually make a difference. You can make some changes. It's hard, but yeah.
So I really haven't met very many practices that are running 4 days a week. And so, I mean, we kind of said it quickly. So I'm sure ears really perked up when they heard that. So can you share more about how you make 4 days a week still very profitable and all the benefits that you've really gained from it?
Yes, it scared me, but I had no choice. It does work. We became more profitable. So I had a new grad and she left after a year and a half, which is typical. She's phenomenal vet, moved on, which you should do. You should, your first few years, you should go around. But I lost a lot of money. I was mentoring. I was not seeing appointments, and I was stepping in with surgery, and I was stepping in with dentals. And instead of seeing appointments, I was mentoring. I spent a lot of time doing that. And then they left. And I was like, well, I have to make money. So when you love what you do, that happens secondarily without trying to rip people off. You just make money. So I just got back to work 4 days a week, and I make more money now than I ever did. The staff are happy. You make it clear to the client about the ERs and the urgent cares. And in Portland, we have tons of them. So I don't feel horrible when there's emergencies on Fridays. I just tell people, this is the way we roll. I just state it as a fact. I know clients will be like, oh, I wish you were open still, on Friday and Saturday. I can't play that game. This is just the way it is. We all work together as a team, and my staff are very happy and they're still here. My clients understand. Yeah, when I come in on Monday, there's lots of urgent care and emergency. You just have to be okay with that and follow up with the care. But you can make it financially viable, because what I did find out is the days I wasn't there, even with whatever vet I hired, they were not profitable enough to make it worth it. Especially Saturdays weren't. Fridays made me nervous to be closed, but with the way I run practice, it is profitable. And I did actually got encouragement from my accountant, because she did know veterinary practices that run 4 days a week, which kind of surprised me because I had never heard of it. And she's like, oh, no, I have a few practices that run 4 days a week and they do fine. In fact, they do really well. And I was like, okay. It made me feel better. It didn't influence me because I had to do it anyway. I didn't really have a choice because there were no other vets to hire. It's worked out phenomenally. And I haven't even promised clients like, oh, well, we'll go back to, 6 days a week. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what makes me happy in life? I didn't do this to make a lot of money. I just want to pay the bills and work with happy people. That's pretty much happening. And as long as I can be efficient and do those things, then I can keep doing this. And so far, it's been fine. Now there is a slowdown, so it's not as booked out. So I'm going to finally do marketing like every other business has to, but people still sign up we have what's called a pet club. So it's like a membership and it's all wellness. So it's all the vaccines, a yearly labs, including fecal and heartworm tests and all that, getting them into your clinic. And people still sign up knowing that we're 4 days a week. They still want to sign up for the pet club. It's a monthly subscription. They're still signing up, even with that. And the thing is, the pet club is just wellness stuff. So if you're coming in, you need to come in on a Saturday or Friday for emergency, they know that's not going to be covered. The exam will be covered, but with clients, they are even accepting. They're like, okay, I'm gonna be with you in the long run for at least a year, even though you're only open 4 days a week. So that's another positive reinforcement for me to keep doing this. I'm happy. It's with especially staffing. Like even if I had a vet who's like, oh, I want to work Friday and Saturday, I'm like, well, who's going to want to work Friday and Saturday with you? I don't know. Again, it's just being nimble and going with the flow. And yeah, that doesn't mean tomorrow won't change, but at least I have that option to make that choice.
Yeah. Now, do you think you would be as comfortable or successful doing a 4-day-a-week clinic if you did not have technology to support you?
Probably not. I mean, back when we just had paper charts, I'd probably make it work. I don't even want to think about that. I mean, even when I got out of vet school, I still sent email reports. I always made communication important. So definitely it would be so challenging. I text. It's my day off. Well, day off, right? I'm emailing and texting clients. Please tell me how your dog is doing. Here are the lab results. I'm going to be checking messages, and my clients know. So I don't feel so guilty. I can find out for those cases that you're really watching. I can track them on the weekend. If I chose to, if I was around, I can do that easily with quickly check my phone. How are they doing? They're doing fine. So yeah, that would be really hard without VetBadger.
Yeah. Well, and then one of the big focuses for this month of May is that emphasizing more around family and that the human side of being a vet. Like first and foremost, we are humans. So what aspect of that have you been able to prioritize and hopefully enjoy? You mentioned you did have children as well. So how has that kind of changed your life, having a whole nother day to be with them?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I love it. I have 2 girls, teenagers, 17 and 15. And I was like, oh no, I love them. They're like, they're just now starting to get interesting. Once they just start getting interesting and you get to know they're like, one has a really dry sense of humor and you're just starting to become their own people. But then they go to college, No, they're great. We do a lot of things together. Just having the time to go to soccer games, right? What parent, I'm going to go to a soccer game this weekend. And then my daughter's in a play at the high school. So a musical, she's a freshman. I'll be able to see that, if it's on a Friday, I have Friday off, I won't be stumbling from work, having that time with them, that they're important. And the time goes by fast, I'm starting to get that college,
Around the corner.
time is short and definitely COVID, spat that in our face times 10. Life is precious. Time is short. Enjoy what you do. VetBadger definitely allows that, right? I could do a telemedicine from home if I have a client who's really upset and needs to talk. I can click on the screen and give them a link and they'll put on their computer or their phone and we can talk about a case. I can be at home. I can shut the computer off and the phone off. And I often do. I'm horrible about my phone. I don't check my email. I'm horrible about it because I do have to have that time to myself and with my family. Being a business owner, you could work 7 days a week. But as I said before, I'm not a good person. I'm not a good business owner and I make too many mistakes. So just shut the computer, and enjoy your family. And then when you get to work, all the tasks are there, right? I can just get right to it. And I'll do that. If it's laid out for me, easy, boom, tick that box off and do that task. And then I get stuff done really quickly. And then I have time for myself and my family. So it's great. And I don't feel like anyone's being compromised in that. The patient is getting what they need. Definitely the owner is getting that. And I'm happy. My family's happy. And you are being a role model for your kids, right? You are showing family life is important. Personal life, sports, activity, reading a book, that is important. And Steve and I both do that. And so my kids do. They open up books, they read, they go for walks with us in the morning and walk the dogs. It's great. We have dinner discussions. They're not on their phone. That is what makes me so happy that we can accomplish that because I practice what I preach. And so they're like, oh, okay. So they do too. And as a parent, who doesn't want that? That's what we want. So that's what I did.
I love that. I like that you also made the comment of when you can't be the person that you want to be, who's rested and happy, then you can't do any of the jobs the way you would want to. And you're just always going to feel like you're not showing up in the way that you want to. So being able to have the job that you enjoy and be the vet that you want to be, your person and in the right mindset, that's going to leave you much more happy and fulfilled when you can do all of those parts the way you want to.
Yeah. That part of me, I know that. And I just want to instill that in every vet that I meet. There is joy. I know how you feel. It's like a path of self-discovery. You have to do that yourself. But if I can share this story with people and just tell them there is happiness in our profession. Yes, there's burnout and I understand it, but we have to work at finding our happiness. And it's so important. And you can do that while still being a practicing vet. There's a balance, right? In anything you do, there needs to be balance. And I think we forget it. We're like, well, I'm done with that. I'm going to just do this because that's bad. That's not how it works. And I know you have to discover it through your own way, but I feel bad because I feel like we're missing a lot of wonderful vets out there in our field. Like, I want you guys to stay. It's a great field. But yeah, balance is so important. If you don't have it, you'll never find happiness.
Well, fantastic. So before I go into the final questions, I really like names. So is there a fun story behind the name VetBadger?
Oh, this is not my story. This is my husband's and Phil's. Badgers are very pernicious. There is a video. I think everyone has seen the YouTube video. I don't know the title of it, but there's a badger and it's eating a cobra. And there's someone in the background talking for the badger. And I think Phil and Stephen saw this video and they're like, oh, wow, that's us. Never going to give up. They'll take down anything. This badger literally gets poisoned by the snake and then gets up and starts eating it again. Like that's badger. Just you keep at it. Stubborn, tenacious, aggressive in terms of getting what they want. That's the badger. And I'm sorry, I'm not giving it the right context and story because it's secondhand. But,
no, that's
yeah, Steve would
so
probably.
I asked. No one will ever look at your name again in the same.
I know. Just look at YouTube, badger eating snake, and you'll watch it and you'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yes, I do remember this video. I'll have to link this.
Yeah. That was what kind of triggered. I'm like, oh, I like it. That badger. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's you guys.
I love that. So the final questions, these are just fun to learn more about you. So what is a skill or interest that you have that maybe not a lot of people know about?
I ride my bike. It's a track bike, so it doesn't have any brakes.
Oh.
And you race on a velodrome. So it has usually the ideal one is like a 45-degree banking. So you have to go fast, otherwise you'll slide down the banking. And I live in the city of Portland, and we had the Alpenrose Velodrome. It is no longer here anymore, which is really sad. So I used to race on that. Won a Masters National Championship 500 years ago when I did a competition up in near Seattle. But now my husband still races. That's a world championship, Masters, which means old people. And so, yeah, I do that crazy thing. So I'm racing with like 15-year-olds to, all ages on a velodrome with no breaks, learning to be humble, work hard, train year round. I do that, and I drove up to near Seattle to race on the Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome. And sometimes I'll travel even more. But yeah, that's my kind of crazy quirk that I got from Steven. But for training, I do ride my bike to work every day. Year
One
round.
with brakes or without brakes?
With brakes. This one has brakes. Some people do ride without brakes. There are ways to slow down, obviously. So I ride my bike a lot, and it keeps me healthy. So it's a nice way to clear my head before I go to work, and a way to clear my head when I go home. It's helped keep me sane all these years. So I'm really glad I have that hobby with physical activity. So yeah.
You are a cool mom. No wonder that.
My kids don't do that. They ride their bikes to school, but they don't want to do that.
Well, is there anything on your bucket list that you would like to do?
I want to do more traveling. I want to go ride my bike and travel over in Europe. And definitely I want to go to every state in this beautiful country. So it's just the bucket list of traveling, probably like everyone else, but eat lots of wonderful local cuisine in every state, like have every different barbecue in Texas and Louisiana. I want to do all that stuff. Just travel and enjoy this lovely country and obviously the rest of the world. So, and ride my bike. Yeah.
Yes. Riding your bike while doing it. Yeah.
I ride my bike while doing it.
Yeah. And finally, what is something you are most grateful for?
Family. Yeah. I know it's like the goofy, but just being with my family and enjoying them, laughing with them, sharing meals with them, traveling with them. I recently traveled to Ireland with my whole family, the girls, and they loved it. Just, yeah, it's family.